It is Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. It is podcast number 216. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hidden Oaks Overdose. Jesus Christ. The Hidden Oaks Overdose Football Fix podcast. I am one of your lovely hosts, the Garlic Johnson. We are joined, as always, by our other lovely hostess, the Chewing Joshua Mitchell. Josh, say hi to the folks out there.
Chewing? What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know. You were chewing when I started. You must be good at that swallow motion. So that's how he says hi, folks. We appreciate people in the Discord like Walters, who's listening live right now. We appreciate at Levi Oki Illustration for all the beautiful art. And I've already reached out to the Champs Duel finalist for some art that Carmel's going to have to draw in a couple weeks here. So shout out to him double time. And we appreciate Josh because he's here and stuff. Josh, how you doing today?
I'm doing. It's a Toots Day, and it's, Toots Day. Worked late tonight, so got home just about an hour ago. Sat down, ate dinner, chicken and rice, because why not? And then realized I got to turn right back around and go back to work tomorrow. Not in the office all day. Have a presentation at Centennial High School I got roped into, and then Thursday I'm in the office, and it's just, I don't even know why I go in anymore. I've peaked. I've already peaked at my job. I've maxed out my salary cap, so there's literally nowhere to go but sideways. So it's just like, you know what? I'm not feeling it.
Sounds like a pretty existential day for Josh.
Yeah. How are you, Gar?
Good. I'm good. This is a very rare occasion. Okay. You and I are usually very much in the same workload, how do I say it, tier, class, whatever. In the very rare instance, I was actually working from 7 a.m. when I normally start until I clocked out at 6:57. So literally right before I turned on my personal computer, I was grinding all day. So yeah, that was fun. Got a little crunch at the end of the year here, but I think I did everything I needed to, so it should be golden. So I haven't had much of a time to enjoy anything today. But it's also rewarding to, work that hard for a change sometimes,
Yeah, that is what would happen. I'm assuming that you had a deadline of the 17th, and it was given to you January 1st. So you just plugged it all out today.
I mean, no, it's certainly not quite like that, but it was just, I won't get into all the gritty details, but we've been working on this file with about 47,000 players, which is pretty much a year's worth of active players for us. And there have been going a lot of back and forth on that, but then I realized somewhere along the line, and I didn't want to waste the time investigating where it exactly happened. Like a couple thousand players just noped out of the file. So someone somewhere deleted some rows accidentally, or they cut and paste instead of copying and pasting, or when they filtered something they didn't copy and paste right, whatever they did. Just a couple thousand players were missing, so I pretty much had to go through, and what would normally be a couple days, if not a week's project, I cranked it out again today because I didn't want to be missing a couple thousand players. So how exciting.
And Al's over here saying, yeah, now you can ignore responsibilities and play video games.
Yeah, maybe. I said I'd play with him tonight. Maybe not on the exact schedule he wants me to, but I said I'd play. Oh, never mind. He's talking about Walters. Just got home. Oh, perfect. Okay, yeah, he wasn't talking to me. But yeah, so lots of work stuffs. But I've talked enough about me. You want to talk about football, Josh?
Always.
All right. What you want to talk about the Pack first?
Never.
Josh, we all have bad years, bad weeks.
Well, this is the Homer highs and the Homer does, as we've called it this season.
No!
The Packer. We'll start with the Packer does. The sky is falling. We all died. I believe the team, instead of taking a plane home, they took an ambulance. And it's essentially just forfeiting the rest of the season. So congrats NFC North opponents. You guys were right. The Packers did not win the Super Bowl. You guys won your Super Bowl. Congrats. The Packers high, the sky is not actually falling. For those Packers fans that may listen and are, a little bit gullible, it's not actually falling. That Wisconsin education should treat you better than that.
Are you a gullible fan?
Well, when I heard the sky was falling, I did go outside and just kind of stand there hoping something would land on me. But I won't say I'm gullible. Just hopeful.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously watching Micah Parsons go down, Christian Watson got banged up. Who else? Sorry, I missed
Zach Tom, who's our starting tackle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, offensive lineman.
Quay Walker left for a while. Jaden Reed was great, grabbing his knee at the end there and limping. Evan Williams, who's the kind of the second-year solid safety, really good safety, he got hurt. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Al's out here saying that the Vikes are going to knock the Packs out of the playoffs in Week 18, but he's the one that said the Packers win in the Super Bowl, and he's the first to admit if they don't, and so he's hedging bets out here.
He's not, maybe, I don't know who's worse about you and Al just love to spray and pray takes throughout the year, and then when one of them inevitably ends up being right because you've had 50 takes, you're like, see, I told you guys. And then all the takes that didn't come true, it's just like, well, it is what it is.
A told-so.
I hate to say it, a told-so. But no, I mean, would you, Josh, as a Packers fan, would you rather, because like obviously, the Packers are not in the driver's seat of the division. There's the Bears and the Lions up there. Would you rather the team, like, would you
they're
rather
still ahead of the Lions?
Oh, well, excuse me. I don't have the standings in front of me. Would you rather see those guys who got banged up and not, obviously the guys that didn't tear their ACL, RIP, but would you rather see them try and struggle through because every game is important right now? Or would you rather them, if they need an extra week or an extra couple days, would you rather see them rest, be fully healthy, and then be ready for that, hopeful wild card spot? Or would you rather them push and still try and get the division? Brian.
Well, see, I think that obviously this next game is Bears-Packers rivalry, biggest rivalry in sports. And I'm sure that they'll be pushing to play. It already sounds like Watson's going to play and Evan Williams is going to play. The other ones I haven't heard too much on. I don't think Micah's going to play. But I do think that they do make a push for it. And, it'd be nice if they could sweep the Bears this season and go into the playoffs. I don't care if it's division or wild card. I always enjoy, an extra week of Packers football is a good week for me. I say that now, but when it's, 34-10 third quarter and they're losing in the wild card round, then it's maybe not the best week. But, I get the opportunity to cheer for my team in the playoffs. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
We don't have a first round pick, so what's the point of, tanking for a draft pick?
Cool.
And so, that's just the way I'd like to see some development. Maybe get Matthew Golden a touchdown or two.
Ooh, okay. All right. So you want to see him play. Nice. We'll move on to the Vikes. Vikes high. Obviously, the Vikes look good. It's nice to watch your team perform well in prime time. The whole nation's watching. To transition perfectly into my dough, this is not an original thought, and I'm not quoting it perfectly, but the paraphrase version is: "There's nothing scarier than a Vikings team with nothing to gain in the postseason." So of course we're just gonna go out here and we're gonna play well. When it doesn't matter anymore. But I mean, all the Vikings fans have talked about what we want to see to end the year now that because we got eliminated even before we played on Sunday night. What we want to see is some development out of JJ McCarthy. We want to see some promising signs. We want to see some consistency. And though he hasn't been perfect, certainly if I see one more game this year where he plays pretty well like he has the past 2 weeks, I'll be a lot more hopeful and have a lot more faith going into next year. On the darker side, as I believe it was Chris Collinsworth highlighted on Sunday night, just how JJ's throwing motion of like how he picks up that back leg pretty early, this or that. I'm obviously no QB expert. I don't know shit about Dick, but that if he can't get that fixed in the off season, as KOC and them were trying to fix it during the season, I guess it's something he was trying to think about a lot instead of just naturally playing the way he always has. That could definitely lead to injury. That's probably part of the reason he's been banged up the way he is already. So hopefully he can. I'm not comparing him and saying he's going to be as good as Josh Allen, but one of the great stories about Josh Allen is how he completely reworked his throwing motion, and obviously Josh Allen is the MVP. He won the MVP last year, right? The MVP winning quarterback. Yep. We know him to be. So hope the kid can take the next step. Otherwise, he's going to be injured more often than not, probably. But Vikes look good. Again, it's nice to beat the Cowboys. They have a very respectable offense this year, whether people want to admit it or not. Except for that George Pickens guy.
Yeah, he struggled.
But yeah, that's how I feel about the Vikes. Josh, you have any thoughts on the Vikes or any thoughts on any of the other teams around the league?
No, not. I mean, a lot of injuries. Devon's hamstring, though it sounds like he may still play. I don't know, decoy or not, but hamstring at 32, probably tough to recover from. I know as a 34-year-old, if I were to pull my hamstring, it'd probably be 6 to 8 year IR.
Dude, he's got that body built by Taco Bell. Okay, he's got that pliability. He's got that, he's got that live moss.
Yeah, that's true. He has a Taco Bell in his house, I hear. So
right, he'll be fine.
And then Mahomes, he goes down. So, Kermit's going to be sitting on the couch. Miss Piggy will be massaging his knee for a while now. And then I'm trying to think who else went down other than, Micah, which we already talked about. But there's some injuries this week. So that's unfortunate. Never like to see him lose the stars. But, they are going to come out and they're going to say, you know what, that's just something that we can't avoid. Let's go 18, 19, 20 game season.
Next man up. Here we go. Come on. No.
It's going to be a year-round football season.
God, that would be terrible. No, I would say I'm 70 to 75% confident that if they add another regular season week, they would have to add a second bye. How that would work?
No, there's no way.
Sorry, I was just going to say how that would work with like the NFL, like, because obviously the NFL cares about fantasy, not that it's a priority, but how that would work with, fantasy and all those implications. That's one piece of it, but absolutely they would have to add a second bye, and you would, all players would hope that there's one kind of in the first quarter, the first half of, not in the first quarter, but that between that second quarter and half of the season, or and then about 3/4 the way through probably. So. But yeah, these players need to stay healthy, man. Like you said, you never want to see the stars go down. That's what makes the game exciting.
Yeah, I did get an update on Sleeper. There is a JJ McCarthy is only 4,135 passing yards shy of Peyton Manning's single season passing record. Something to watch.
We're on our way. One more thing I would like to mention is that Rivers made his debut after 5 years. And he looked not that bad. If you were watching the game, you could see, Walters brought up the point. I'm not sure if he just didn't have the ability because he hasn't been working out his arm that way for 5 years, or if he was a little bit skittish, but his ball didn't have that same Rivers zip that you're used to. But he was pretty accurate. He was getting the ball where it needed to go. Even with that awkward.
He was dadgum not afraid. Dadgum.
Golly gee. And so as someone who is, I don't know, like obviously there's been an absence in the post-Favre piece of shit era of like, who is my single favorite player? I might default to Moss just because Moss is Moss, but Rivers is easily top 5, if not top 3 of just my favorite NFL players of all time. So just watching him come back and watching him do pretty good for a guy who hadn't played competitively in 5 years, I'm happy to see that. I also saw the storylines. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say these are top 5, assuming Joe Webb is 1A. and then like the rest are just fighting for top 5.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, Joe Webb is up there in terms of favorite players. Obviously, his impact of the game is a lot smaller, but I'm never going to shy away from my Joe Webb fandom. Okay, that is well documented.
Especially playoff Joe Webb.
All right, like can I just have the guys I like? I mean, do you need to just tear me down at every turn?
Hey, I get torn down all the time. One of my favorite players, as you know, shares the same first name as me.
Okay, but Josh, how often am I tearing you down about the players you like?
Well, daily, because I always think that you're thinking bad things about them.
I believe that's called projection then, when you start tearing me down before I've done anything. Anyways.
Well, if ESPN and Sleeper can project things all the time, why can't I?
You know what? You're true. No, I was going to say one more thing about Rivers and we'll move on. I did see, and I don't think this is why he did it, but if it is, that's a fucking baller move as well. Everyone was saying, I guess, I'm not super familiar with it, but once you're a veteran of the league and then you retire, you probably need so many years vested or whatever, but you retire, you get 5 years of healthcare. And Rivers, who has 97 kids, his healthcare was about to expire, so him coming out of retirement and starting another game, I guess, would reset that healthcare clock. So that could be one of the big, even though the Rivers has probably made millions and millions of dollars, healthcare ain't getting any cheaper by any means, and especially with what they're doing to the ACA. I'm not trying to make it political, but just that's the public marketplace, and he's probably not getting healthcare from his high school job, so that dude's probably paying huge premiums to cover his whole family. So if that's one of the motivating factors for him to come out of retirement was just get another 5 years of NFL healthcare, that's a baller move, and I respect it. Go out there, throw a touchdown, get the fans to cheer, and then take some healthcare checks at the bank. That's fucking sweet.
Yeah, so his family's coverage of that healthcare is probably going to make the NFL need to sell a game to like AlJazeera.com.
There's gonna be a game in Saudi next year for sure, just to cover that Rivers family plan with dental and vision. He's no cheapskate.
Oh, absolutely not. All 19 of his kids need glasses.
That's true. But unless you have anything else to say about real ball, we can move on to talking about the fantasy stuffs.
Fantasy's real. It's real to me.
It makes me feel real. So that's what it's all about. Yep. Josh, you had a couple playoff matchups this week. How'd you do?
Well, Gar, I went 3 for Favre. So 75%, I will take it. It wasn't, I thought for, on Thursday night, I thought for a second, there's not a chance in hell that I come back and have a chance in Hidden Oaks Dynasty, considering you had Pitts and Bijan.
Mm-hmm.
And then my team, they're a gritty bunch. They tried to make it competitive. Pickens kind of, that Monday night game, Pickens really didn't pull his weight. Then Jalen Warren, Monday morning wakes up with the flu, realizing that he got sick when he realized he had to carry my team to victory, and he couldn't do it. But yeah, no, it was, we were the top 2. No, because I think the other matchup got really high too. I think Jesse and I were within like 1.5 points, and he would have beaten me if I played him, but I would have beat T. And a lot of high scoring matchups in the Hidden Oaks Dynasty. And then obviously the Champs League, I mopped the floor just to, probably get 3rd place in the league, but mopped the floor this past week. So advancing the 2-week playoff there. And then deflate these balls, I beat some chump. Probably shouldn't have even made it in the playoffs, but so I guess we pity people now. And then Victoria's Secret, I did beat Jordan. I got a little nervous because I had Pitts, and I'm thinking there's no chance that I lose. And then midway through the noon games, looking at the projections, he's projected to beat me still. And I was just like, are you kidding me right now? And I look at it because Trey McBride is on his team just absolutely going hammers.
Dude, Trey McBride had a week.
And so I was like, well, okay, that basically canceled out Pitts. But then thankfully Monra pulled his weight and gave me that victory there. So now I get to go play Tyler in 2 different leagues. So I mean, we all know how that ends. The kid has horseshoes coming out of all of his orifices.
Mm-hmm. For what it's worth, to give yourself a little credit, I pulled up the Hidden Oaks Dynasty League. You would have beaten everyone besides me and Kevin, who didn't have a matchup. So you would have beat both Jesse and T had you been on the other part of the bracket. Prasky, he didn't have to set a lineup, so I don't know if he did. But Prasky had the lowest score of anyone in the playoffs, so hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Otherwise, rough sledding ahead.
Yeah, how do you do, Gar?
I only had 2 games last week because I had a bye out of my 3 playoff teams, and I went 1-1. Like we previewed last week, I was in a lose-lose situation playing Jesse. If I beat Jesse this week, or if I beat Jesse last week, no one would have cared. You should have. And when I lose to Jesse, the world ends. And my entire team shit the bed. It didn't help that he hit him on Raw, but no one on my team showed up. I think I only had 2 starters, or maybe 3 with my kicker, hit double-digit points. I didn't do shit. It was depressing. So I got booted out of Hidden Oaks redraft. Hidden Oaks Dynasty, like we've already talked about, I beat you. I was a little bit worried. I mean, it wasn't sweating it, but on top of Pitts and Bijan on Thursday night, I also had my defense put up 0 points, which is never good. You at least want a good 5 to 10 out of them when you can get it. But we had the rest of the team show up and win, which is nice with the highest score of the playoffs. I'm playing Rodin this week in Deflate These Balls, and Patrick Mahomes decided just in time he wanted to go down with an injury, and there's no trade. The trade window's closed, so I guess I'm just going to try and pick up a quarterback. How exciting for my playoff matchup. So likely it's going to be a Rodin-Tyler championship in Deflate These Balls. Rodin going for the 2 for 10 the Empire, I believe. So what an exciting time.
Wow, we're still in the capability of losing both dynasty leagues.
I think that's kind of cool, honestly. And for what it's worth, Al and I have been conspiring to start up another one once these ones end. So if they could both end the same year, that'd just be hell convenient from a planning standpoint.
Would I be invited to that league?
Yeah, for sure. My vision was always to have a competitive normal dynasty league week to week like always, and then to also do a bit more casual dynasty best ball where you really only have to care about the team in the off season, but you could still do pickups and drops during the season. But Hidden Oaks a best ball dynasty is a lot more is less stakes. I know a lot of people worry about adding extra leagues during the regular season, during the fantasy season, so that'd be fun. I don't know if I'd be able to get 10 or 12 people to fill it, but certainly a concept I would explore if I could. But yeah, so... Oh, also, the league I bitched about all year, the Ohm's Law League, the Yahoo League with Aaron and Derek and all the electricians and the correctional officers, I would have had the highest score of anyone. I could have beat anyone in the playoffs, but of course I got the 7th seed and I missed it, having one of the highest points fours. Fucking bullshit. I just want to complain about that for a second in case Aaron happens to listen. But I'm sure he won't give a shit. But yeah, you, Josh, you're a Final 3 in Champs branch. You feeling pretty good?
I mean, after this past week, yeah, but I don't know if I can expect the type of performances from everybody again like that. I have the second most money because I believe Aaron has the most money, so it'll all kind of depend on who he picks up. We got a couple bids put in to get one person, so I have a max bid on a couple different players and then go from there. But I think it's really because after this week, there's no pickup. So if I have somebody gets injured or a couple guys get injured this week and you can't pick anybody up, it's like, oh no.
Right, so in a position where you normally wouldn't want to be wasting bench spots on a backup quarterback or a backup tight end, you probably want to have one, especially in a league that is right now starting 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. So that's definitely a consideration. But then also, if none of your guys get banged up, then it's a wasted bench spot. It's obviously difficult, but that's part of the challenge for sure, and that's why I think in Jordan's league, he started doing no transactions like week 15 or not week 15, week 13 or 14 or something, whereas I've stick to the just no transactions the last week, and that maybe I'll change that in the future, but it does add a wrinkle that I enjoy.
Yeah. Moving on, so we usually do the winners and losers of the week, and this week we change it up because it's playoffs. So we've got the round 1 heroes, or the guys that won or likely won your matchups. And then it's Trevor Lawrence with 49.1 points, Kyle Pitts with 44.1, Amon-Ra with 39.4, and McBride with 35.4. Bo Nix also with the respective 33.1. So big scores out of players this week. 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks in the top 5. Pretty nice. Round one zeros, the losers, the ones that you probably started and probably might have cost you your matchup. Judkins 3.2, Jahmyr Gibbs 8.3, Joe Burrow 7.8, and then Justin Jefferson 4.2. Toss Jefferson in there because it is your annual reminder that Justin Jefferson fizzles into nothing when it comes to the fantasy football playoffs. So for those of you that somehow still survived round 1, do not play him championship week at least. Then we have a bonus category.
Oh no,
we've got the round 1. Yeah, so we've got the round 1 heroes, the round 1 zeros, and then the round 1 Neros. Or for those of us with actual culture, he was Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. He was a Roman emperor for the final emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, reigning from AD 54 until his death in AD 68. He was known for being tyrannical, extravagant, and infamous for his political murders, persecuting Christians, obsessed with art, and he's also been rumored to burn things down in order to get his way. In other words, he's a greedy bastard. And I've got 3 Neros from the first round. Dawson Knox, 2 touchdowns on 3 receptions for 18.7 fantasy points. If you do the math there, not a whole lot of yardage in there. He's just a greedy bastard, stealing all of Dalton Kincaid's touchdowns. Jalen Naylor, 19.5, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions. He is siphoning off Justin Jefferson's fantasy points, so greedy bastard. Colby Parkinson, 24.5 points. Now Puka did outscore him, but Colby Parkinson also had 2 touchdowns on, I believe, 5 receptions, and just did not want to spread the wealth. So he is, in fact, a greedy bastard.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bit.
Gar, we have round 2 coming up in the Hidden Oaks League. Jesse versus Derek and Jeremy versus T. Where do you have your money on Derek or Durr?
I mean, I have to put my money on Derek. Of course, they probably haven't set their optimal lineups yet, but right now, Jesse's projected to win 134 to 124. And as much as it would feel nice for Jesse to win, so then I lose to a really good team. Derek went 21-7 on the season. He's got a solid team. Derek's a fantasy veteran compared to Jesse, who's just bumbling forward. Although Jesse is also a former champion, so got a shout out to the North Dakota
first ever champion.
First ever champion back when we were an 8-man. But I'm going to take Derek just based off experience, but certainly Jesse has, because who's Jesse got on his team? He's got a hot team. Caleb Williams, Jonathan Taylor, and Amon Ra would be his best player. So if Amon Ra really pops off again, Jesse could do anything, but the good money's on Derek in my mind. Looking at T versus Jeremy. Jeremy coming off his bye. T is projected to win right now. Again, they're sure they haven't set their lineups. It's only Tuesday, but T is projected to win by about 5 or 6 points, 128 to 122.8. They're the 2nd and 3rd seed. Jeremy has Jahmyr Gibbs and JSN, which is really hard to compete with. But T has James Cook and Saquon. I don't know if Saquon's that great this year, but James Cook. But T just has a much more solid floor with James Cook, Kyron Williams, Jameson Williams, Jawan Jennings, and then Saquon, like I said. So, based on ceilings, I'll probably go Jeremy in that matchup. But certainly, obviously, T was the 3rd seed. He made it to this point. They're both ended the season 16-12, so it's just a points 4 breaker between them who got the bye. But I would pick Jeremy in that one just from the home run.
I'm going to go with Derek and T because T just put up 177 points.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You don't get to carry him over. This week's a new week.
Yeah, but is Jahmyr Gibbs even that good?
Allegedly. Yeah, T just had really top to bottom solid performances, other than Joe Burrow, who only got him 8 points. James Cook dropped 32. Kyron Williams had almost 24. Jameson Williams had 26. He's not going to do that again. Jawan Jennings, almost 20. He won't do that again. Dallas Goedert's not going to drop another 24 bomber. He's probably not going to get 10 and 15 points from his kicker and defense again. I think T is more of a paper tiger in this scenario and just had a hot week. I think the good money's still on Jeremy, without looking at the matchups of Gibbs or JSN.
Well, why don't you get on your knees and say that to T's face?
I think about it. But yeah, so that's who we got there. It looks like you also punched up the side bets for the year, Josh, except for week 9.
All of them except for week 9 because that involved math and I wasn't feeling it. But yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of repeat names on there.
I don't see my name anywhere.
I don't see yours either. Maybe week 9. But anyways, week 1, Garrett, congrats. And I forgot to put in the categories, but Garrett, Jeremy, Brad T, me, Derek, Jeremy, blank, Derek, Brian, Nikita, Derek, Jeremy. Derek
so the top
basically won
seeds,
his money back.
Yeah. Crazy. The top 2 seeds just mopped the floor with side bets, huh? Supposed to be random.
Yeah. They are. So
Crazy.
like Derek, let's see here. Jeremy won, the one with like closest is 21 without going over for a starter. Derek won team with the closest margin of victory and the team with the most running or rush yards. So that one makes sense for being a high seed. Jeremy won week 8, the team with the most starters under 10 points. Derek, crazy 8, so the team with the most number of 8s in their total.
Jesus.
Derek with the defense, highest scoring defense. I believe he had Seattle with like 25. And then Jeremy in week 14 had the team with the most touchdowns. So it's like most of those are random, but then a couple of them were skill based. But yeah, they just lucked out on them all.
So Derek has 4 to Jeremy's 3. If Jeremy happens, and then what we do, because there's $75, I believe, set aside. And so then I just did the extra $5 to whoever won the most side bets. So then if Jeremy happened to win a 4th one, Derek would still get the extra $5 because I said the tiebreaker was whoever got the tie first. So then since Derek got 4 in week 13, he would get the extra $5. But that's crazy. Fuck both those guys.
Yeah, and it might be Jeremy because week 9 is the bench warmer. And he's had Bo Nix on his bench like all season.
Oh, God. Well, we'll see. He still wouldn't get it, or he wouldn't get the extra 5, but he'd get the 5 for the normal side bet. So that's crazy.
Yeah, he can buy himself a nice soda pop.
Yeah. I think that's all we got, Josh. I'm going to do the Hunger Games bit here at the end, but unless there's anything, fantasy football or Hidden Oaks related, I think we can get the hell out of here.
Not that I can think of. I'm going to go bike now.
Wow, you're doing bike post-pod. Usually bike pre-pod.
I know. I'd work late tonight.
Oh, you work late too, bro. The man is getting us down.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, love you guys. Go Packers. Go Packers. Go Packers.
Love you more. Good luck. Now to honor the fallen. This week, the Hidden Oaks Redraft League lost 2 of their best. Me, Garlic Johnson, the greatest to ever do it. But then also, Nikita Mitchell, who tried to change her name from Team Mitchell to Hey Darnold, but it was too late. So also RIP to the name Team Mitchell. See you all next week. I love you. And good night.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree for me.